Yamamu nyina dwo amamu akwaba eba United Television ye studio so worship us abaka junction na uku ye kasebo etwato na me eja kwabena be dey bremu ye dey asida ma special ice so no special drink e bin come this way and afi need fufu any neat abekwan se omuso ye sena me dey kasebo ye brema fi kasebo ne munsam nie yenye nim se ye man pani his excellence John Dramani Mahama sisi amino kasa odi na enum e konsrahwe ewo South Korea memu na mampeni ekoye no woni South Korea mampeni Lin Jae-mun ehia mponfo mienu yi adwento ato ade abusuabo eda Ghana ye ne Korea ntemu no eno modwendweno kon befa so a yebetumi ahyemu kina wonhyemu nase no amampeni ene South Korea aban no ede won sahye apam ase eyenti ase apam no ebefa yensuo so ebambo afi wiem sakraye a ebe to skase na yede adwukyere susuye aboaboa ye ho afi abefo kwan ye fa so ye niema enema hodo bebiri na mpanyfo mienu yi etena se adwendwene ho do wonsa hye nkrata ase se bebi obi anim de obia no wode beba abebeboa se de be ya ebema amanfo wo sa maemu no ebetumi anya so mfaso wochese mampani chese ohwe asa hyemu ya wone South Korea mampani ehia ye ebeso aba bebiri ade amaman Ghana se na be ebetumi ama oman Ghana nso ye kan bambo amanfo ye die hu nsam ne mahodo a ye betumi aye ne aye ne man fefefe osanso eka ho se ade bakọ ohia ye pa eni se ye betumi aka ho bom se oman Ghana na South Korea fonso ka ho mabom se South Korea na fe nsusuye ne adwempo ani osuehunu a amamienu wo bia no yetumi de aboabo ye ho ebeboa yie pa amampuntu nso atumi aba amamamienu amanfo se yahwefo beka ye nche bia ana ye de betu dwa se asuafo emekire mrante ne mabawa epese ekọ adwumam kusuensua ayese soldier police immigration finding asefo no esese wo mutumi ekona omayi interior minister Mutaka Mubarak akokasa na wacheche mu se nipa dodo a ebepreye se won pese wo mo be ye adwuma e wo bambo nyumakunu mu no nipa be empim num ana ebetumi afa omo menchirichiri mu no wo kire se sa nipa empim num yi no wo mo na omo asafata omudwumedi a omudie nyina ho yemfa ne somapo muden wo homasua wo munim de nsohwa hodo ye wom ene sorom si de ni nyina wo mo hwe ni nyina ansa na ye fasa de pa be ye empimu enum yi na se empimu num a obi be se omo aqualify o san kire mu ebio se party chitafo bi ka se na won fa dipa engu party ni mu recruitment omo yi omo fa party fo enwuro no kire se na yetumi nya ne sama ne nya yo ye ne sa bebiri sa na anya de betumi aboa na womu a ade womu wode porta bi omo to one crofo efa so ade kire se won pese omo ba no ebinum womu ansan fata je se na womu ahwehwede na se susudia na yehwehwe firi omo che no womu ani hu womu ani hu kra enti safo na be den yetuma fo adwuma mu ama na tumi aye sense bambo adwuma no ye de susu de bia to ye gina so ade ese adwuma so wonuru ho a yetumi fo so chinchine twan ye de wo ewura ho abande sise bi ba na sansha no de ba na ba beboa se de be ya ye gold ye wo Ghana ha no ye tu no saa ne de kosaa no ebetumi ahwe na yasesa no kora empempi no kwesi broni ede niama ba Ghana ha no wa be ye no wa betu gold diamond bauxite bi otu a no wa maye kete bi sika fia bi na de aka nyina no na wo de kọ eno na ben kire se de bi omunya ne sanya de betumi aboa eno nti no esanse niama na wasase mu no eye de nti no esese yan ene se tumi nya so mfa so bebre so oman no eno nti no enyumeku ahodo a epese ebeye tu gold ni asefo Ghana ha nyina no ese tumi hwe na gold ni ye nan no wa ye so no so na de so mu ye bi no motu ni nyina wa ha na protocol you say finished product no o motumi dia kwa amana ne eno achi nso no eto ahodo so mutua ne be hwe ne frenchim no watua ne frenchim sense kwase bro ni manso ana ko bi yesa adwuma yi a eto bi oso tua no obetua ne frenchim nsemi bedwom kasamafo edema so afo hwe asase ene niema horo ho nsem so ena wone UTV twetwe nkomo no wode etu dwa yetraso na yeko asoe fufuro mu Land Commission ene asoe ba kwa kabo masisa meno kase yese yankran nsase a na se oman nsase a ene ankrofo ato ebinu moto fo ebi ewo man finfin krankropon mu ha bebies titiro tena no no matoto adayi nsase no fo pa ebi wo manta musunyan tamale ho sekune tema kumase sansase na wo matoto ni nyina o mtono fofo no ana so ye hwe ensase wonsan so kire sei ene Land Commission fa ka bom sem hwe sansase no ebe yire sementa se esese eye 10 million ene se woto no na woto no 100 Ghana ka hu se de aka ni nyina no ye be ma wose tua de aka wansan asase no ye be jema ma wa ye tumi ejema ma na nsemi so afa be de kiro da so ye na no oniyanfo Yusuf Suleimana ena ode tu ja che Land Commission fo ne aban no etua na mo bia ano odin ye pa sense mo hwe a fi 2017 ekopim 2024 no wo hwe ensase ahodo pa nkrofo agene fofole fo pa na nukure ni entwa ye kura ntenya de aban be transfer ahwe han na bibia tisa na koso na de ani de bia na wanfo kwampa so anto no se ebo no ye survey na ye value na se de so tua no wantumi antue be gi asase utumi tua so de a ene na eno ano no ntina eno nsemba ko a ewo ho ye nyina enim se ye wo Ghana bosumi na se de beye na amanfo nso ebenya bebi afa akohwe omani so nti bebi ba ko wo Ghana ha ebi ni Ghana bebia yewura despite ni automobile museum ho okwa kansa hodo bebere na kansa no so efe pa na enchi payifo da hono de atodwe kire mu se Ghana manti no ye twa na monse na be ya obi biara obetumi na adwene so baba ho no obetumi aba ho na wabehwe kase de bi na June de kan fimpinu ene aduonu numu June 1st 2025 East Legon nkra ha no sa dwumadie yi wonda na di na wo hwe kase ya egugu ho na otum se ha nya sanketwa enti se okọ ho a se na kase no wo ho nkane akura ya wo ho wo hwe mframen nam kase no ho ne se de ho sitie no obetube twa photo bebere wo kase de bi ho a je se kase de bi kro ho o se na wo su de efiri hini na manfo dodo no a akọbọ nwuna kwa homa enya sanketwa akura na no na omo kire se obi biara mra utua kakra bi sika kakra bi na watua bebehwe na Ghana mantene se na nkrofosi kọ ho no anya se nkuma akura na osesanka ebe yi mpa nka oba na wahofa no aye Ghana jesi bi anase bi a Ghana yefugu yi a mihye bi ana kente bi Ghana hofa chese ye ntade kama na wasim ya de abehwe nti no twa photo na abemu adan so kra na ayefefe na wo mo ekọ no so chese o mani so yie pa se omutumi ekọ ho sanse de o makohu no o ma na anwene da so mbekọ akoko hu nti sa onko ya ebre ni ntwemu da so abie abere bia butumi akọ despite automobile museum a ewo East Legon no na odu ho a bon say yes kai ni moto ni enya grokra edebesi ene atwa ho beba ntokwa ekoso ewo Israel US ani Iran tem no ebebi sase ho sam ebe kai nkwan bi so ana ase ho sam te sei ye nkomra ni sankomo no adehema me yɛdam asese mu twɛn yɛn na yɛkɔto nkra bɛ yɛbedi nkɔmɔ na ɛne yɛkɔ hwehwɛ no bɛfa ɔko ɛkɔso ɛwɔ US ɛne Israel ɛne Iran ɛntam yi yɛn sɛ mo hwɛ ntɔkwana sɛ bɛkɔ bɛ na ɔtwe mienu ana sɛ na kakra ni yɛhunu sɛ deɛ fa ngo bɔ no bibia na ɛda no bibia ehura kudu ebro dollar no ha dubai kana dollar ha ne dunsia na samba fam prekopɛ na ntɔkwa no tu ntwae asɛm a Iran aka ne sɛ bebia yɛde fa ngo no ɛfa ayɛ ship ahodo de fa ngo no ɛfa no sɛ wo de ship bɛfa so de fa ngo na mo a ɔmbɛ bombo no enti ama ɔman bi asuru so bɛkɔkɔ fa ngo no ɛwɔ potam na so hwɛ wiase nyina nso a fa ngo wiase no wiase yɛde adwuma no mu ebupɛn bɛbro adu no ɛkɔ aduasa efiri san potam hɔ enti no sɛ kɔba sɛ ɛhɔ ne bi firi hɔ ma na ama fa ngo a yɛde adwuma no ɛso ate ɛwɔ wiase nyina ɛbɛma ne boɔ no nso ahwira kɔsoro na ɔte sɛ na tɔkwa no ɛkɔ no a Iran for kreka reports out there ban say no credit say fa ngo na hwe bedu $200 per barrel say no kre sanya no kre yentumi enkyere na akono so ne tenten ane bretinti ebedi no ane be kyere se kosan yu se basan yu ane ebehunu nyina wo manka na ye ka ho bi esan se fa ngo no dodo no ano ye fiama no ne ane eba o manka na mu ha wo mu se enye ehonom na edi nyina fi bade na so yɛdan a yɛde bi fi oba ede ebetumi aka yɛn ɔkwan bi so kan nti na anadwo yɛ ne wɔ mo a wɔ saa fa ngo adwuma no emu na ebedi nkɔmɔ danka na amo a ɛyɛ executive secretary Edema Kupek na fe Onazis Kobi Rosary ɔno nso ɛyɛ deputy chief executive officer operations and technical ɛwɔ Petroleum Hub Development Corporation omienu na na adwuma ba ene omo ebedi nkɔ obedwafo ndam ase na amama akwaba na na dwi na mama hye semfan firi so dankana mu a yɛnhwɛ ntɔkwa yi ba yi nyina ya tete na afa ngo bo no bɛkɔ soro na yɛ den na sese ba bi aduro no ɛkɔ soro ɛbro $100 per barrel ɛna san ba fam I think na 89 say 89 92 na ekoba udi wani to fam na wo hwɛ se de si ekɔ na be tumi ahwira kɔ soro ana sɛ bebia ne ma kekan kɔ edie be gyina bibigina na sɛ betumi aba fam
eja opesa men kasa sɛ Ghana ni a nka mepese ebe gyina na so beti but opese yen kan no kren so there it is as bad as it gets by the day. As bad as it gets by the day, eja nenchire monie. Every single day ye saa ntokoi ekoso no. Ene 3 of the oil tankers Iran atwashe omoso on the street no. What they are saying is that omo you be a mesenko. Nti eda ebeko ebeba no. The world market ever should between 20 million 22 million barrels a day every day. What it means to global supply. And they said the net demand I 101 million barrels no. They be no be 22 million barrels enko. And tokwane sha say no na ye wo enough into kaya first 2-3 days na nko bebre but a free hono etwa so that Iran air bombe refineries nibi air bombe some of the Kuwait obekaya almost major Qatar major oil LNG refinery and no. What Iran has succeeded so far in doing is to force the world economic order to pressure the US to say look and tokana was ejai because ensunsan na eba no look eja mamema according to reports amensaka ye ni bi most parts of Asia there drew 100 no universities ni bebre public universities o matoto bebre mu there are countries that now instead of 5 working days, or more 4 working days, so that they can save on fuel mobility. Fuel on the mercenary. Kakra ne wo ho no wo use up to a point. Nti wo sika na obi de biba na so no de obeton 100. Say Russia de ba na so ton 150. Na wonya ento wo Iran, wonya ento wo Saudi, wonya ento wo Qatar, wonya ento wo Oman, wonya ento wo Kuwait. Na necessarily also wo koto wo the other side. 150 a obeto eja because eni ho. Nti every single day a etwemu no. Yen stop the war no in particular no. The world market is short of about 20 million, 22 million barrels. Debia. Enra G7, the group of 7 advanced countries, most advanced countries, finance minister share say, omo reserves be, omo be yi enobi, so that a bit me a hold the price na escalating no. Ejawunim reserves are omoka in total for the 7 G7 no. It's about 400 million barrels. Ejetiyo, may your numbers be simple na yatwaso. 400 million barrels and a G7 peso more release so that the demand or the supply shortfall no. Ombetimi de aswa no. Just say 20 million barrels a day. Now we 10 days, that's 200 million barrels. Anke ba besin yako. Enti yenfa ne say G7 class obe release all the 400 at the same time. What the world would consume is in 20 days. Ejati emi would deplete sa stock no. Na Iran, the world in him say ebi mabiwa. Look, the 200 as of enumere, Iran the no project say bedru $200
per barrel.
Baby oil no ba besin no. Also on penny money mesin. So we have a problem. Let's admit. It is for some of these situations, okay, well, feed the din koma, yen to binsie o, yen building more refineries, yen building more tank farms, yen say you, yen adwuma say you. Ne yebu ye ne so because we assume say yebenya bia to Europe abere bia eja ma mention the triangle no. Iran oil no. The free Gulf cooperation countries no. Dodo na have in the China and India. Others will go to Malaysia, Singapore, other parts of Asia, Japan. Eja, Europe, because of sanction, Russia. In the Europe, I diversify bebre no all todo no China and India too.
Into on to Russia.
So yes, sanctions Russia.
Into no the
triangle no. The Gulf Corporation no FED Asia na Asia FED Europe and this Asia Europe into na gas ebo no air triple no now Trump and say sanctions na ye dey ama China and India no o jai no muntiminto Russia cargo. Look, we are in difficult times as I speak with you and offer price at BDC, Eddie Petro, Emma OMC so somebody was or how me wa me DM say omugo so turn 13 cities, 12 and 13 cities. Every 7 cities as of last week.
Ghana ha. Na Ghana ha na ye to say old stock intend to not on 13 cities.
The problem with the old stock ni here the same money e dey at new stock. TMU. Into Otoba and Abegu Hodie. But say auto new cargo and the tanker na all banana first of Europe, Eba Africa, sub-Saharan Africa no. Nanka insurance no omoje be 60,000, 20,000, 60,000 no. And omoje 1.7 million. Inti akoyesa omo premiums na that product no so no. Ebo on the kosoro. As I speak with you, a kosoro Ghana. Just that system ne balance no kakra. The country must plan. Eja, some common name I was here because Ghana for there. Because oh, the reality is that every single day Iran are blocking the oil channel, no the passage way no. Every single day, almost blocking a war on the coast no. 22 million barrels and what's the best in no. enti me messing
every week bia no
anka 100 million 140 million barrels nanka abesene to the world market no for the past 11 so 12 days yeah ekoyi war ne shares Iran so are blocking no
to be oh that is yeah mrefie yeah kan yen na Ghana hana bibi kakra ba I say me share video bi akatia adri bi na I say owuzu na ode ne sa ko hye ba bi na aboa bi de na kan kakra bi so no si hwiri se wo wu ni Ghana se bibi ba gidi sa ya ho boate sei
eja ma menchia wa hwefo senia na wachi twa no hu se sabre eni o master ti se edane wo edwama nso no yes sector minister Ira Dr. John Jinapo Asia the industry players BDCs MP the regulator and the transporters edi hu eye hu hyehye utie dia NP aka NP HRS ye wo 6 week stock e wo ho 6 week stock no yemnya hotoso se yebenya petroleum biato the reality of it is that the next pricing window na die in himself we dey be cost even without intokwana ka cost krana other factors may have contributed to a certain rise because we should know if it 10 and baba do this year 12 but then the fear area the quantum jumper ebebam yempa bonya ne say the prediction from Kumo Koma Emma the 17 no enkodu ho that's our prediction say enkodu ho but abanya famudie abanya de obebia with the current situation that we have say your refinery Temoye refinery up for good 8 years anya adwumada not until recently I started say adwuma na chesenka ba say tema oil refinery adwuma nke bema yakonya ama yetumi awo ahobuamu yi say de na me ne yeken o stock wo nti adentina omontoman at the current price but edwedie no say the city no omotofi international sports market nti no they always sell it at the prevailing spot price nti these people are also there to make profit. They are business people. It is if there's time to make windfall or make it windfall.
True.
They wouldn't want to be running under recovery. You know, ayana etiasentisa. For me, a certain reawakening your friends a moment. Say ye refinery. What's ye may ko a year fan wa ye tunu wo ye memu ankasa so no. It's about time be internalizing the use, no, i.e. feeding the refineries, no. Na investment in upstream, no, so so. So we shall buy new media or the atoto akwemwa. And just say we are hoping say the Jubilee partners the 10 field, no, a new investment of 2 billion plus. What we are hoping is that's the pledge from the operators. No, now mama abayatia see umudi hujuma. Hoping say going forward, you know, say ye produce oil wa say ya, or say tema oil refinery should be able to access the friends and the feedstock, you know. Central private refinery should also be because we understand that tema oil refinery can refine 45,000 barrels a day. Central can do 120. The other private modular refineries are if you buy home between 200,000 barrels a day. And then the consumption level is about 400,000 barrels a day. So the 50% now we can then start sourcing it from outside. Now you share the long-term plan, which is the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. And no, it's with me about my long-term plan. No, I of course we share the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. The vision is by the time the project, the entire 3 refineries on the on stream, at least we should be able to process 900,000 barrels a day in country. The refineries will be working, and we should have a storage capacity a bit to store no less than 9 million metric tons of product here. what that means is that say 9 million metric tons of product in country here. Ghana, I think at the end of the year, you consume like 5 million metric tons. The Sahel regions, Burkina, Mali, and then Niger are consuming close to 4 million metric tons. And it's easy to do business with them because a lot of more products, almost selling through your shops, I say. So if you have refinery working, now we surplus in times like this, we bet me out for hard currency, and these people are rich, and we can make a lot of money from that. So you share the global happiness now. I've always said, look, U.S. produces just 21.1 million barrels a day. The consumption 20 million barrels a day. All that the U.S. has is just 1.1 million barrels a day to export. And the countries of export called Mexico, Canada, and some other friendly countries. But the consumption of has is so huge.
Huge, you know. Yeah, can say you're huge, sano. Ahobano yenye ye ni bibi e betu agina so aka say aboye ho nti de abe no we na ye babaye bibi asa ni ho
say eno ne stock na nka normally what say wo e wo man you na stock na say o pese we making sure say the prices you are able to control the prices what say national stock say kobase stock ne koye for private individuals who themselves are in business to make money there. Then they will determine the price and looking at what is happening at the what your friends say market on. Yet say ja or might be a one. For me, say that mechanics say we wake up call for us say the Middle East is one an option. You to me rely on the Middle East. You to me enya ahotoso say da bia no ye benya fan go fi Middle East. Jacob at the name one availability of the product. Say the buyer enko say the shortage na ever panic emma system, and two pricing. I could say China China shortfall 4.6 million barrels a day. China production level do 1 million barrels a day. It will not here your friend saying in fact no India 4.6, China 11.6 million barrels a day. That is friend say surplus. Not shortfall. That's shortfall. It's no India no. Ekunyane 4.6 million. If you made the Easter, that's to say you don't expect so beton abedja man so. They will of course.
Said the beya kobase bi okuno ye na ho kireba na ho ankire no.
Again. And China esunyane 11.1 million no so a. Or no so be person or no so be dey. Or best store. Say the beya because you see Chinese economy running on this
manufacturing.
The manufacturing industry run on crude. And or no person best starve the manufacturing industry because the moment the Chinese manufacturing industry goes down, then the whole economy itself will have to go down. One person will also be or best starve almost. Likewise, India. You see, the biggest refinery in the world, India, that produces 1.4 million barrels a day, and that refinery is solely for business. And in fact, that refinery is so complex that it refines any type of crude, be it heavy of any EBR, and they sell it to the African market.
Largely
so if it's not coming, and a lot of them say diesel, they put in fact they supply the huge chunk of the diesel you're consuming in Africa. So if it's not coming, what happens to your industry, your mining industries here that run on diesel?
Then India was about the Duncan, me too want to be imagine mu say. One, Sanka refineries no cry a war Middle East one. Anka ye mombo ye and to bombu kobu mu said ya maye ni ya. Anka be say ye beka say okay ni ntokwa di akra na ene ho na no ye be sha say to biu. Ti say ye ka say Bahrain di ya bombo no and almost all those refineries nyina no ya bombo ni nyina. Ti so kun be na wie ye nampo a afa na wo be repair works. E so mo tena se hwɛ niema so one repair works we want to say some machine here adwuma that wouldn't take less than 6 months. Enti no ade no ade ne yesi ye
eja odi bisa na odi ka enye ntoko a obeka say almost omoja ene. So everything returns to normal. In fact, the only thing America say ntoko we nyina cause my respect US any Israel for. And they say almost protect Iran and Kasa. One say Iran ne major oil hub near from the Karg Island. A majority of the storage and the supply were two oil. I have a hub. Iran no two oil kase no. Our hub. Ghana ni hub. Eja wudi ebi. Iran ne kipi hub. US ako bombia but omo a stay off Karg Island. But Iran na bombe other countries no. Omo energy installations, refineries ni bi agye omo de. Enti se no so de wo kan no so omo so omo giant tokwa ne bo a. The technical mechanical works to be done to bring those plants back on stream no. Eja enye one day adwuma. It will take time. Enunti na me nua Kobi adwene say look. Say yet na o man mu ne say look, ye was stock magana fo nsuro na stock wa ha eja met me actual messages from some of the OMCs almost when there. Say ebo no every 7 akodru 13 ona asesere mu ye who was stock na ye private stocker private capital private capital would determine or price o what national stock on so a ana me say nation dey be determine ne bo say nation no
subsidize
what you can decide post over release no at the prevailing market auto no eja me boa enti say yeah na nka ya focus on sa petroleum hub adwini ya ye de namun e kire say nka ebetimi aye sa 9 million metric 9 million 900,000
for the storage
so ultimately ye ne sa now me kan jere Ghana for say ye was 6 weeks eja hwe South Korea the minimum stocks will keep here 7 months minimum 7 months. There are a lot of the other countries it be 1 year 2 years 6 weeks
6 weeks
and 6 weeks you know a private capital and a hold it
you know say no cost that's a bit affecting now as a private person so
only option no because or try say oh a bona could drew yen fan is ye started war na $690 a metric and na plant $1,000 a metric ti hwe de abeto so nti ono obetimi aye father Christmas saying pa obeka say ade na drew 1,000 but ono de obeto ne de 609 ontimi but o mine ne koto obi yes petroleum hub refineries adwuma and the process bia na e de bia eja ye this year nebo no 500 and o mine to be na 500 and ye to this year and na drew 1,000 is o mine say enye hwepo ye famra at prevailing marketer 690 meboa until the o mine de ko share mu to get the product no o mine enhwede
you can sell
o mine no benya ne sika back and will still be able
to be fofra I saw the big ka ho so to makoto fofra
and no kan o mine pa onkoto. You see, so was stock no bet me a hold your country no for 1 year. Eja. See, I was stock at the whole 1 year. And no more to bomb be near CBD, Mamon Hammo. Ye save enough. Ye in fact, ye dear no, and augment it for another 4 months and near here. Unim near bear. Ye bet me a keep it not only the stock levels, no. Ye bet keep it price levels, so at a reasonable point because ye to be 500 and then 1,000. You see a release at 690, which is the prevailing market. In the stabilizing market, no, they are torn 500 and they are torn 690. We will still make 190 B also. So you are not making losses. You are able to stimulate your economy. You are able to keep your people happy. But the akoya is no, na trotro for ADHD. Esi for more near atoso kakra and prices really sticky downwards so tia dem pa nti o twen na kowia it's difficult for you to now come back and say it's a system no monhwe na monte so from 12 year away a lot of the projections I'm getting and then I'm 16 17 actual Monday so mine no ye kofa petroleum hub and at oil refinery nam ne baby Central nam ne baby Platon akwaba and I aboa wo mo nanka mo processed products Bost and esi hoyin Bost tanks no ubetimi the petroleum hub I expand the Bost tanks because that is what they are there to do. They are there to create a bigger hub till make Iran ne hub ne friend Kag Island or no two oil kesiye wiase no or harbor what is it Iran so to petrol or to bomb there or akono se den now so obetimi e keeping the man for Saudi who betre ne said they will keep their prices
Bahrain,
UAE, Dubai mo they keep their hubs operating enti obetimi abombe o mo 3 months but they only be feed you o man for there eja ebi wo ho we have no planned enti we seem to applaud ourselves for the very little gains 6 weeks of BDC stock or private capital stock different from 6 weeks of mine ne stock enti we are maybe a wake up call.
There will be a solution. I mean, say.
Oh, no, I'm come as a move. A wake up call for Ghanaian leaders, right? Baby, who depending on no Europe, no Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Antwerp. Now, because our products in the free no. Europe, Nankasa is being squeezed now because free China and India as easily as they were getting it.
They've run out of oil.
And so, not Europe price. Edru soro.
No so go fan soro baton
soro. Plan and now my tolo for a wow. And the Omodeko, Majiji be on massive refineries, Ibiaka home, now there be a more process here. Eja, some no one can Yasumodri.
Onazis, Metuina and my dream be who pass and say. One, Yemuna no economy no, minus a Casaman said, people are really complaining. Say, never more thing. If you coffee the more, if you haircut, in free moon ye. Amount for investment, who's can I basa? Just say, amount for a planning, so easy so. Now we so quacoba. Yeah, any say no, they say, Obia Junuma need he, and a media and so. Transport owners and the transport operators and so on just about 1 year mas.
Menko na ho mamincha wa no kakra. Transport operators na frame da.
Okay. So eti sane market na eba ni nyina no. Mo petroleum hub ho no. E de na mo ye na nimanim ya to ensure say sa 6 weeks ya ankrankra die no. Se koba se entokwa ni nti yantumi anya de hwehwe free. Amai hodro no so a
just said uti say make me my uti say the long term if because yeah buy say afimu an ye koi last year be ko wi ne ye mampanyi president Asia eni di hu komo o che nyoma mienu miensa bi a o se ye minister so e di hu juma dendende ene wi ne parliament select committee on energy and so kushia and Jamaican studio say the both afternoon in the MPP side, the NDC side on board, fully on board. President is on board, your minister is on board. New maka kremi mi and Sabina toto said the beya be to me I share side media because you to say also a drink kind. Said you will be school be motors and I say drink can it was a drink can na ye say that chibino we say air course with the Middle East effect no and my so sir if we say na we can transport as me you say no so e be day we say oh yeah shippers council CEO
shippers council almost $1,000
okoye nhwemu na say shipping lines emumu na dia ship and that one is just more or less an insurance for the ekuna air call no because mind you insurance
premiums
in fact some of them are quadrupled it made it so expensive and you know you say Middle East is not an option na what's here so you share hasi na petrol hub on you will be say we are some man no there are hubs I mean Rotterdam has it Belgium Antwerp has it India ewo Singapore ewo Malaysia ewo I mean China ewo Africa has say say nipa ba kunfo na opese oye be ye Dangote by using refinery share issues about petrochemical plants and petrochemical plants no unim say offer watade a wo shey kura ni nyina petroleum product ka ho your friend is saying we gadgets are we use fertilizer we use your pharmaceutical industry into the mind they are big because India saw some of these raw materials from the Middle East petrochemical industry by extension to the pharmaceutical industry. So one of the issues coming through the issue with agriculture because so share a lot of these fertilizers are yet to Pinefi India and eba ejamanso now India also sourcing raw materials and also no if he Middle East. Now the fear is that if India is unable to produce more by virtue of entokwana say to entwa na ekwa what will be the effect on fertilizer importation and the effect on agriculture. As we speak, I mean the UK Prime Minister can or say UK should praise themselves for tighter times because the effect of the air cost of Middle East on at the moment Europe has run out of oil. Fan go be in Europe bio. Omu nyina di dwa if either Russia or
China, India
or no motor refined products no but the producers themselves no the Middle East because they produce at a cheaper price. I always say look Tama Russia Ukraine is here. I always advise the argument. I say look when Russia Ukraine war is here no, the difference now you realize say Russia and Ukraine kontokwano America the tabo to Russia so because Russia was funding the war out of the petroleum proceeds. It's in order to your friends deny them access to funds and on they tabo so what that meant was that Russia person ton the oil and countries like India were buying it anyway
cheaper
and they were buying cheaper price in fact as cheap as $30 your friends a discount. It India access to that product and once the product itself premium price low the refinery cost is also become low and selling it into what it meant is that all the diesel that we are getting from India for the Jamnaga refinery were cheaper. So we were supposed to gain because
this year man is Serbia.
This year the
man is Serbia and then amoye. And then
they are in two fronts. One, at least a production my room at the offshore so I buy the partners are operators in those fields and say invest so that there should be new west trade. For 8 years there was no one single worker trade. What it means that the previous wells in the one produce and then they produce 140,000 barrels a day.
185.
In fact, it went as high as 185. In fact, above 80. That's how low it has become. So when your new fields are, now the new fields will also then feed the refineries now. What I say, and if there's the need to also buy crude, we buy crude to add up. That's the short term idea. Now TOR is working. We are hoping say TOR will get the feedstock to feed them. Then the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation project, so I mean one of the easiest low-hanging investment that can be made is tank farms. While the tank farm comes, at least to me, hectare enough, even crude. And now to me, a store that could even last you for 5 months is now because you see, OPEC, for any country to be energy secured, at least you need at least 3 months stock.
And that's any secure the crowd.
We have 3 months. So to countries like Japan, Japan has about 9 months stock.
No, yet 6 weeks. Until you know baby akra.
It makes us say there's opportunity to rethink through. And now I find or mining in Aja to say because all conditions favor us. Ghana, we are in the center of the globe. If you want to go to Asia, 6 hours. If you want to go to Europe, 6 hours. I mean, the America. Sahel, West Africa, after is there to help trading amongst ourselves. So Ghana, with our political climate, how stable our politics is, how effective our judicial system is, any the investment the petroleum hub is giving, i.e. import tax free, 100% repatriation, and then your friends the corporate tax 10 years, then after which zero corporate tax 10 years, after which you can do no more than 15%. It's enough incentive for investors to come in. And mind you, even the tanks and the refineries in EBC, the key infrastructure is not going to be built by government. Government is just facilitating it. Just like any other country, it's supposed to be spearheaded by your friends, private sector. Yes, and then I can tell you, say, as we speak, we have about 160 people, investors that have expressed various interests in the project. So what it means is that the long term idea, immediately say, short term. But the short term, then Tor should be working as it's working. Now they say they do 28,000 barrels. Now with you see the trading, you see the oil trading, and they say nipa na or the crude buy, you know, if government is not the one bringing the crude, not the crude in eba, not or refining, not or share the margins, say automa Burkina, Mali, Niger, that's Ubenya Faswa, or the Beko
on Toma.
Yes. And margins
Burako Dikanika. Wako young we are. They say, on why I'm watching Sikawi until the Academy are ready and fun. Exactly. Dankramwa, Mitiwo in an home. Nankam some Casaba, Mammy. Na, like I say,
a judge break.
Yeah, one bro. Yama, the political elite, I take here for granted. Esan say Otama refinery your boss to, according to me, my boss to crown woman needs a stock could be a boss to
holders, strategic stock.
So, for what reason? Say, Obi, ebe ye no nkwa be ye say ku nipa bako dubi ebe kokotwe be ba na ombenya usika boom to the detriment of mine no eno ne hia ye. With we asie you know. Would you say reforms be necessary ye? Just say enibre so pa. Said the bay or chinabino. So hobby at say cocoba and conquer yes and say ye ya toba high. My mouth 5 minutes. You're bringing tea.
Eja. Problem pa in the energy sector. A Tamoyo refinery, a bust, even Ghana gas. Problem war. And the lack of investment. We don't care. Oh my share. Ghana's founding president, O.C. Torno, in 63, Eja. Share Tor capacity at the time. Nanka obe refine their mahwane hwaimpo. He was going to do over and beyond what that time population 6 million no even required in terms of eso or no with the benefit of hindsight or foresight. Realize that bedroom baby benya crude oil in commercial quantity. Or no point the time no more explore water basin no. With the belief that there's commercial volumes of oil. In Tienfa refinery in Siho, ni nyana ya chinchim mu. Na yetime I self-sufficient. Also ono no onye west any east. Do you know so we face neither of the two. On face you be cause Ojidi says ono aye self-sufficient. I say ja. O come via me de borehole esi hoyi. Me sorry na Ghana water si nsuo ma. No answer my pompe kakra. Na menye bi adware. That is being self-sufficient. In Nkrumah compare investors, the Italians, be see Tor. In 93, Ghana for penyufo kotena say oh yensi Boston so. Started 92. Yakofa agolf was ka na edikosisi tanks akese. Tie din no bulk oil storage. And the transportation can ho so mun develop transportation infrastructure. I bet me move oil no from one part to the other. Boss the Juma. Yeah, Kobaya from around 2010, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024. Eja, auto boss that someone boss so are making profit. I done it a trader.
Yeah. Instead so no more be kura so amaye.
Oh, yen talk akra nkra anaze nka to ye adwuma na o process even 40,000 barrels and now 20,000 na eja. ye betimi a consume 10 no na oman na peten bi de asie baabi na ye da so report na se enye ntokwapo ewo Middle East na ntokwa e WhatsApp region ha ye territorial waters ana meboa fanese Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Mali, Benin, Nigeria, wenchi esi enti waters no product bia ma enna eja yewu ana meboa
ano so yɛmfa soro ma ne nyɛ yie
o de fa soro nyɛ yie o yɛ de kofa plane also the since you no so neba nti if your West African your friend is saying sub region no there's any trouble or instability the country be so no so mpene e ma won fa cargo bi nsi nsuo bi so mfa ma na Ghana is affected that eja or refinery no you have not invested in it nti management is working but sika o mo be here to retool tour obi say minua o nana o say oh the economics of it but the truth is this tour ehia desulfurizing plant obetwe sulfur na wo diesel mo no sulfur no na wo de good diesel mo abon say engine ne krakrakrakra bebre no tititi engine oil the diesel engines no o say wo start here ugina ho a as nika say sulfur ne do so that's the sound you get modern cars na diesel no they don't consume that much sulfur BDCs ne ko mo kofa sulfur count no 10 ppm any 50 ppm na deba tow machines na a bit old into ya configure almost 2500 ppm and 3000 ppm eja the more the diesel the sulfur count no the more dirty the diesel is into unya 10 na cleaner than 50 50 far better than 1500 meboa into here so we invest in tow to bring the diesel to a cleaner point since Nkrumah Beye na Ejuma yesi ya retrofitting ya maintain ya dende the state does not want to invest we want to reap the benefit oko Boston so a yesi tanks ni bi say ehọ na megidi say omujai onases na busuafo to develop the petroleum hub no more see more tanks you would now have a need to store tanks to store products now where the Boston na the trading hub Boston so kofta anon so abeton why middleman Osikonko nti eja until we decide that we need a coherent national strategy fortunately monya a petroleum hub for they have a clear mandate omun developing infrastructure omun developing way omun designing way I subscribe to it because eja the long term strategy no so when you 2 more refineries aka home or more storage tanks or petrochemical industries na se wow process crude na new wells na modeba no mantias yo since 2010 years started processing na ye too crude no wa hanuma na asese ship mo na ko UK na ko ni akoso ne so ne de ship for akota ne de aba agro be in the eja
they tell say
agro be in
ye nya yente ho asese the world is addicted to oil the biame cancer say ushia ye nuanom na ye sustainability renewables na ye arguments na be na ye co renewables eja renewables na be ko you believe in energy transition
another 50 years
but we also ye to we na accept Europeans they because they've depleted their hydrocarbons and even that they are relying on Russia, they are relying on your friends India and
Canada
for all
Mexico.
These products that your friend is saying materials na the EV cars na the manufacturing extraction of those materials, those heavy machines now extracted those materials, raw materials to manufacture all these renewables, whatever. Yes. That is the extent at which we are addicted to fuel. Nyankopon Chadie, the hydrocarbons are here. There are a lot of discoveries being made. And I'm saying, I say, Cote d'Ivoire are making 2 huge discoveries in addition. Angola is still, optimizing their production capacity. Even Niger, make discovery, start exploration. So Ghana, so GMPC, Exproco, started Jumedi or voter base in Nimuach, and the EPA has granted a permit for them to start work. And the initial assessment, there's enough gas in place. To me, what it means is that the resources are in Africa. If it's in Africa, what you may any come. And then Middle East in your man in oil. In Tokwa, Iran aircon. Iran is no more fighting bombs war. They are fighting economic war. The strategy is that Eco 200 many now the pressure better US so and US in Israel will stop the fight. Or concept infrastructure for them the oils America Venezuela in oil. Tell the Bay America even with one proven reserves of crowd or one to do other forms of oil. Canada no munyina no more oil no almost air preserve for future. It no me feel say what's the may ni ko oil some there. I think say it do be impulse politics no. Na ye fi into future. Na ye nyina ye support aban wi na say they needed investment no oil sector na yetumi aye na petroleum hub eda yesom etumi abam na the upstream sector no so etumi aye adwuma eno e basa na menu mienu ka umboto te se de ya waboto wa se ya unim what the next week
next week de everybody ja unfortunately
yan hwe de besi
unfortunately ja
dankana mu amedase onaze so medase metie nyina bibi na madwene mu pa
eja manenka ho
ya manyofo eweso bibi bia abro no doso mo pese me kumnya no doso mo nwene ya yeto aba na mamono esanse so bia bana kotumi ani fam di bia sana kwa me nkruma ya digja hoyi 1992 ya be ya bost ananka mandate ya de ma omo se adwuma wei na monye anaka omo ye ya ka bi anka so aba anka bi omo sisi bi kura ka ma koma ye ne ma hodo bebre na so abro ni pese bi nkumnya ene ne bre enti yenye na obi akofa aba na waton the other boster no so akofa no so abeju no so aton so nye wadwuma no na ta my friend say to be hwe ni siesie no ye hwe ni siesie no na yakoye na fufuru bi sa na to ye empa na yesese yebo dokra de ba kopɛ wese yebo mpa pa na ntokwa na ka bedu kira kwana komoja yankaye na so tie Iran se wo mo no be kira bra ntokwa no esese jai enya America bio enti ade no enye se de ehu no ketua bi saa no omani abre Iran man pani se si ya mekenkan o se ansa no nko obeto mu yam na on be gya ntokwa no age se de kan America fo repatriation ni ana ye pe bi se o ma fa ye nkoa na ye so ye pe repatriation no America fo nso mo mu bi na America recognize boni o de ye Iran nyina compensation bi won compensate wo mo sa negotiation ni nyina koso wi anse na Iran fo beti asese ntokwa na nyai. That means say demand is so huge, and I don't think Papa no the team yellow no or beti ase na ati ase chinada. Nti obi nim no no so no say CI almost a Pentagon mo kire na say US pay for kire say Donald Trump na e kire obekire present to kwanigu tio. He say Donald Trump na be kire. He say Iran for so mo na be kire. Ebe kan ya jabi. Mi di de jakwa bna ho ya domo a ebe hia pa na ese ye bo ya krama mu nyina mu ni hwe ni de yi